So as we realized in the last lesson, we need to be able to store two interrelated pieces of data, namely the first number that the user wants to calculate and the calculation that they want to make, inside something that can group them together. Now, we've learned about quite a few different things that Swift allows us to do. But one thing we've yet to see that Swift offers is something called a tuple. And it's something that allows us to group together related pieces of data that have different data types. And it's as convenient as creating a simple dictionary, but it gives you the flexibility of holding different data types. And it's not as high effort as creating an entire struct or a class. Now here I've created a brand new playground and I've deleted all of the code other than import foundation. And I can create a brand new tuple, let's call it tuple1, and I can give it some data by simply opening a set of parentheses. Inside the parentheses, I can add in as many pieces of data as I want, separated by a comma. So let's say Angela and 12. And there is our brand new tuple. So if at some later point I need to use one of the values inside my tuple, I can simply say tuple1 dot 0. And you can see that as soon as I start writing the dot, it tells me the first item in my tuple is a string and the second item is an integer. And if I hit enter, then you can see that I've got the first item printed out down here. So that's how you can access tuples like this. Now, just having 0 and 1 is not very explicit, and it's quite difficult to see what's going on here in the code. So even though that's quite short, it's not the preferred way of creating a tuple. Instead, what we can do is we can say let tuple, let's call this one tuple2, equal, and we give it some parameter names, right? So let's say name is equal to Angela, and age is equal to 12. Now, fear not, I am not a 12-year-old recording videos on the internet, but that was just the first number that came to my mind. Now, if we created our tuple like this, then we can access the items in it by saying tuple2 dot, and we can tap into one of the names, which is way more explicit in knowing what it is that we need. So let's say tuple.name. And in this case, again, we will get Angela printed down here. Now, the third way of creating a tuple is by creating an empty one first. So let's call it tuple3, and we can specify its data type as a tuple. And it's going to have a parameter called name, which is a string, and also a parameter called age, which is going to be an integer. And at a later point, when we need to use this tuple, we can simply say tuple3 dot name is equal to Angela, tuple3 dot age is equal to, let's say, 18. Growing old really quickly. You can also, if you want, simply assign this in one go. So you can say tuple3 equals name is Angela, age is 21. There we go. So by using a Swift tuple, we're able to organize related pieces of data that are relatively small, and we've been able to create this really, really quickly, pretty much on the fly. And at a later stage, when we need to tap into any of these tuples, we can use the explicit structure of a tuple by using the dot notation to use it anywhere inside our code. So now that we've learned all about tuples, let's head back to our calculator to implement this in order to store our first number and our operation together in the same tuple.